What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and in this video we'll be going over two different cryptos, XLM and HBAR. We're going to do a little 2-for-1 video today. We'll go over XLM Stellar Lumens first, and then finish off the video with Hedera HBAR last. So if that sounds good to you, hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I assume that most people don't mind hearing about both these coins because if you're invested in one, you're probably invested in the other. At least you're aware of the other, and you like to keep tabs on them both, right? They're competitors in the same kind of niche space in the crypto sector. Looking at this here at 33.7 cents now, Stellar Lumens has come down a good bit today, the 14th of October. We have 5 hours, 46 minutes left in the day. Bigger wick than a body, right? It's a red day. We're down 4%, but you have a bigger wick down below than you do a body. So that's nice to see coming back up like this, especially in these uncertain times. I say uncertain times. I'm pretty certain, right? It's uncertain for a lot of people. People are waiting to see what happens next, but I'm pretty certain what's going to happen is we're just going to slowly move up. We're going to be range bound, slowly move up, and then we're going to break out probably later this month going into November. I mean, Q4 is still on track to be bullish, you guys. Even with this little speed bump in the way, it's a little bit more than little, right? But here we are at 33.8 cents now. 5 hours, 46 minutes left. Let's look at the short-term stuff, and then we'll zoom out from there. Okay, looking at the 1 hour time frame, and in fact, I want to look at this on some exchange with volume. Let's do Coinbase. Yes, a little bit of volume here. Look at that. There's actually a little bit of spike right there at this top candle. You came down, but you didn't. There was no volume to pursue lower prices. You're actually eating this right back up. So that's nice to see, especially with the RSI. Man, right there, you were looking like you were going to find resistance, right? Like you were right in this area that you were going to find resistance at, but you broke through it. You're back above the 50 now. Nice to see. Stochastics look bullish, and the MACD looks bullish too. You're probably going to continue moving higher. You know, this is essentially the same call that I made for various altcoins because they all look the same. They're all in this kind of like upward sloping channel right now. I would think we do one of two things. Either one, we move to the top, we find resistance right there, cool, whatever. Or two, we find a higher high, that's what I'm thinking we're going to do. I would assume that we do find a higher high, and in which case we might find resistance at our prior areas of support, which we're zooming out here and looking, let's see, you know, we had prior support right here that we found resistance at. We keep climbing the ladder. I would think, you know, something like this sounds about right here, where there's prior support here, prior resistance there, something at about 37.3 cents. That could be. We could see a higher price. Maybe we go right up here and then we consolidate, right? We get a higher low, higher high. We're in this upward sloping channel still. Let's see if any fibs check out for that there. Let's take a high to a low and see what our Fibonacci extensions are. That's right above the 1414. It's perfect. Typically, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but typically you either stop at the 1272, or if you go up to the 1414, you do go just above it, like right there. That's perfect. Or you go all the way up to your golden ratio, which is also something that we could see. But I think that that 37-cent area, you know, give or take a quarter of a cent in either direction, 37 cent, 36.5 cents, something like that. Let's just say 38 to 36.5 cent. That area, that's where we're going to go to next. Okay, that's my expectation. And again, looking at these indicators, I feel pretty confident in that. The stochastics look bullish. The RSI looks bullish at the moment, at least. Very volatile overall. And the MACD overall actually does look a little bit bearish, but here you're fresh crossing green, so I think that this is going to promote some continuation. Bitcoin's coming up, right? The rest of the market's coming up. It's a good time to be alive in crypto. As long as you're not a leverage trader, right? Or if you're I guess right now if you're on the long side of things, but you never know, right? You might want to hold off on the leverage trading right now. And in fact, not financial advice, not a financial advisor. I think that it's not a good time to be a leverage trader. It's probably going to be very tricky going over the next couple of weeks, I would assume, for the average investor. I think we'll be range bound. I think if we look back at this time, like in a couple of weeks or like in a month, we're going to look back at this time as if it was a simple time to trade. But we're going to get caught up in our emotions because with these ranges, every time you get to the high point, you're like, oh, that's it. We're breaking out. We're going to highs. But we don't actually go to new highs. We find resistance there, and then we come down. Oh, no, we're going to break out. We're going to go to new lows. But then you find support and you go higher. It's just like a real tease of everybody's emotion. And really, it's like the most simple range to trade. But emotions and psychology get in our way of the simple things. 4 hour time frame here. The RSI has broken out of a lower trend, right? With lower lows, lower highs. We broke out of that trend. We're forming a higher trend now, higher highs and higher lows. Love to see it. Bouncing off the 40 area there. I would assume that our next area would take us to the overbought zone. Now, do we get into the overbought zone or do we reject the overbought zone? That remains to be seen. I would think that if we reject the overbought zone, we probably stop at 36 cents. If we get into the overbought zone, we probably do break above 37 cents on this next move. And I would expect that going into the end of the day, being that we have like 5.5 hours left in this day here, I would expect that we are moving up going into the end of the day, but tomorrow is probably the day where we will see this next high point, right? What do I mean by next high point? Why do I put quotes in that whenever I say that? I mean, like, this is our high point here, right? Like, so there's that. The next high point is going to probably be tomorrow, Wednesday, maybe early or midday. And then I would think Thursday we probably come back down, Thursday, Friday, and maybe over the weekend we come up. I don't know. Maybe we have a boring, stagnant weekend. We'll see. We'll do some analysis on that in a couple of days. But for the time being, I do think that today, tomorrow, even the next day might promote some growth. The RSI certainly suggests so as well. I would think if we're moving up at this pace, right, we're probably going to get there. We'd get into this overbought zone late Wednesday, mid Wednesday, if not sometime Thursday, and then perhaps come down from there. So we'll see how it goes, but it's looking good. I want to see the RSI on the 4-hour time frame get into the overbought zone, not reject it. We don't want to reject it. We want to get into it. Okay. Stochastics look good here. Admittedly, bouncing in a kind of unorthodox area, but in all fairness, you have bounced actually right here before. You bounced right there before. You bounced right in this area before. You even found a little bit of turbulence right there. Some resistance in this area. So I think it's uncommon for the average chart, but somewhat common enough for you, XLM. The MACD is building here. This is actually a really good look. Overall, you are bearish because you're below the zero, but man, whenever you come up like this, you come down to touch the line, but then you bounce. That's good. That tends to what we're seeing here, the building of bullish momentum, the decay of bullish momentum, and then the building again without flipping to bearish momentum being built at all. This is typically what we see in a trend, right? In an upwards trend. And I think we have that right now, right? Higher lows, higher highs. We're going to form another higher high. I think we're trending and we're going to trend higher. Does that mean that we're off to the moon? No, probably not. I doubt that we see anything that's above 40 cents anytime this week, but maybe. You never know. For the time being, let's keep our feet on the ground and just focus on that 37 to 38 cent area, kind of 36 cent at a minimum, right? If we stop at 36 cents, we likely do go back below 32 cents. I want to say that clearly. If we can't get above 36 and a half cents, I would think that we do come back down to 32 cents. Daily time frame here, the RSI looks immaculate. We love to see this. This is perfect, man. Bouncing right off the oversold zone. I love to see it, man. Overall, very neutral. Very, very neutral right here. I shouldn't say it looks immaculate, but what is perfect is just this bounce right here. It's absolutely perfect to bounce right there. Rejecting the oversold zone is good. Neutral, you finally picked a side, but you rejected the pick. Now you might come back and see some overboughtness. That'd be nice to see, right, overall. But very, very neutral RSI. We're at the lower ends. One would think that we'd come up to the 60 area, and that would likely promote some growth. I mean, potentially back up to 40 cents or more over the coming week, right? Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not the next day, maybe not even by the end of this week, but sometime next week we should be back above 40 cents. That'd be my expectation, right? Stochastics do look a little bit bearish here. They're turned around. I don't like the way these look. This would promote the idea of lower price action. And the MACD does promote that idea too. So hopefully by the end of the day we pull up a little bit. Tomorrow is a green day and we can get these to cross a little bit more bullishly. Looking at the weekly time frame, here's where things get a little bit more exciting. Because here, Stellar Lumens, it's very obvious, has been in this consolidation phase, this large area here, really since December, November of last year, 2024. For nearly a year now, you've been in this area. We have had a flash crash, a flush out. We've back tested prior areas of resistance and support and found support there. We even, right here, if we put this to the very, very tip of this low end here, we even found support where we found support before back here, you know. Resistance there, support right there, resistance there. It's a somewhat significant area in the history of Stellar Lumen's life. So I do think that what we've done is we've held support. We've actually shown strength. I know that might seem kind of ironic being that we dumped down a lot last week, but I really do think that we've shown strength. This dump happened largely while the markets were offline, when the exchanges were taken offline. So there was nobody there to scoop it up. But as soon as the exchanges came back online, as soon as the ability for people to buy came back, they've done nothing but buy, right? The selling has been met by an equal force or a larger force of buying, and I think that's why, again, we're seeing this kind of slightly tilted uptrend right now where we're getting higher lows and higher highs. I do believe that Stellar Lumens is on the brink of breaking out to new all-time highs, and I'd like to talk about that now. So looking at this here, with this overall range that we've been given since like 2018, really, we take this high to a low, And you can see that we've been consolidating, hit the 886 as resistance, hit the 886 again. We held the 618 as support. That's bullish as hell, by the way. We did this before last time. We actually did this exact same thing, right? We hit the 886, found support at the golden ratio, found resistance at the 786, and then we went down. Here we're doing the same thing, except now, instead of rejecting the 786, we're actually still holding up in this area. I think that we're going to break out and see higher prices. Ultimately, that'll take us up to $2.46 and beyond, right? Inevitably, by the end of the cycle, we're looking at a $22 to $33 stellar lumens, at least a $10 price, right? Something in that zone. But 246 was the expected area that we were going to see by the end of this month of October. But with the recent events that have taken place, I think it's more appropriate to maybe consider these targets to be achieved either at the end of the year, if not earlier, as in like the end of November. So end of November, end of year, somewhere in that kind of time frame there. That's what I would expect, that we see this kind of area. I do expect we'll get above $2 by the end of the year. I do expect that we'll see prices even around $2.50. However, by the end of the year, I don't think we'll be too much higher than that. Going into 2026, we should see some more expansion. And again, like I said, May, April, June, that kind of time frame, I think that we'll be at this $20 to $33 area personally. Stellar lumens with a multi-$100 billion, pushing $1 trillion market cap by the end of the cycle. I don't think it'll hit $1 trillion, but we'll get like very, very far, like probably like 500 billion to an $800 billion market cap would be my guess by the end of the cycle. Anyways, I don't think I have anything else I want to talk about as far as stellar lumens is concerned, so we can just move on from there. We can put that to bed, I think. Nothing really worth noting here. Although, I don't know. I wouldn't mind if the week closed here. I doubt the week closes here. I bet the week closes higher, but I wouldn't mind if the week closed here. This would be a good area to bounce from on the stochastics. Anyways, let's move on. Let's talk about HBAR here. Hedera, hash graph. Looking at this on Coinbase too. We'll look at Coinbase for now, and then we'll probably go to a different chart once we're looking at the all-time history stuff. I just want Coinbase because it's got some volume. Okay, very massive dump there. Very, very massive dump for Coinbase, man. That was humongous. 1 hour time frame here. Looking at Hedera. Also, you have the same. You see how it's got the same thing. It's not just exclusive to XLM or HBAR, but most cryptos kind of look like this right now. It's no assumption, no small assumption here that I should say no large assumption that we're going to see higher highs. We're definitely trending, and I think that we are going to see higher highs. Looking at the 1 hour RSI, we have, technically we do have a downtrend, lower highs and lower lows, but we've gotten above the 50. I think that we're looking like we want to get into the overbought zone. Really, what I'm seeing here is that you lived above the 50 for a good bit. You got below it, but then you got right back above it. I think that we just don't like being below the 50, so we're probably going to spend our time here slowly but surely meandering our way higher. I do expect, just like XLM and like a lot of cryptos, if we look back, we look here, you can find prior areas of support that you found support at. Maybe even raise this up a little bit, something in this area, whatever, 20.7 cents to 21 cents, somewhere in that zone. I would expect that's where we go. We get our higher high, right, in conjunction with this kind of trend here, and we come back down, probably right to these same areas that we're at right now to find support before moving higher. So wouldn't be surprised if we saw a 20 to 21 cent price action or price come into play here. Looking at the stochastics, they're bullish. The MACD is also flipping bullish as well, so good things going on there. The 4 hour time frame, zooming out a little bit, doing the same thing, building some bullish momentum here, bouncing right off the 50. This is a very nice look on the stochastics. Actually, that is really strong. And the RSI breaking out of its downtrend as well, finding support at the 40. You rejected the 60. You found support at the 40. You're probably going to move up. I have to admit, between the two, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but the indicators on HBAR are a little bit stronger postured. I will say they are a little bit stronger postured. Like between stellar lumens why can't I talk? Between XLM or HBAR, HBAR has the stronger look as far as indicators go, right? You're bouncing at the 50. Stellar lumens on the stochastics, it bounced down here. The RSI for stellar lumens, it didn't hit the 60, and it bounced below the 40. Here, you got above the 60 on HBAR, but you bounced right at the 40. So it's just slightly stronger implications here. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a little bit of a stronger move as a result too. But you look good, looking good on the 4 hour time frame there. The daily time frame even looks pretty damn constructive, I should say, as far as this consolidation phase goes. We're at lower lows, lower highs. We did slip a little bit, but we're still in this kind of area. I'm not drawing the lines the best, but you can see what I'm going for, right? We've got this kind of like downward sloping trend right here, right? And we're still in it. We popped out of it for a second, but we're back up in it. And I think that now we're going to go to the other side. Ultimately, going into, you know, like the 20th, the 22nd, we should be back above like 22 cents and beyond. I would think going into that final week, those final 10 days of the month, we should be pressing out of this range. We should be breaking out and looking to expand out of that. If we're looking at this here with the RSI, the daily RSI is in a bit of a downtrend, right? We've got lower lows and lower highs overall. I would expect that we do continue to climb, though. Let's see. Today could close with a green day. We're down 3%, but 5 hours left is definitely enough time to close green. The stochastics look positive. The MACD does look negative. But with the RSI, even if we do find turbulence here, I would think that we still continue to move higher. I wouldn't be surprised if this attempt right here was the attempt that broke us out of these lower highs, or if we came down a little bit and then the next attempt was as well. So do keep in mind, not financial advice, not a financial advisor. I am expecting that we come up. I'm expecting that the whole damn market moves up here over the coming days. But if we do go back down, it's okay, right? We could see prices at 16.5 cents and it's fine. HBAR is fine if we go to 16.5 cents. I don't want to see us below like 16 cents. I don't want to see that happen, but we're fine if we go to that 16.5 to 16 cent area. It's a perfect area to buy. I'm not calling for us to go down there. I'm not saying that we're gonna move down there first and then move up, or that we're gonna move first and then we're gonna move down. I don't think that that's what's gonna happen. I just think that if it happens, it's okay, is all I'm trying to say there. Weekly time frame. Looking at this here, zooming out a little bit. Now that we're on the weekly, we can shift to maybe a chart without some volume. Looking at this here, from the prior cycle high to the bear market low, we've hit the 786, 886 area. Okay, consolidated there. We've done a lot of consolidation over the past year. When it does come time to move up again, I wouldn't be surprised if we found some turbulence here. But overall, I really don't expect we'll spend much time in this area. I would expect that we do break out to new highs altogether, new all-time highs. And by the end of November, we should be seeing prices that are at like $1.21 or higher. I truly am expecting that this kind of target area of $1.21 to $2 is the next target area for us to consider when breaking out of this zone here. Whenever we break out, we should see that move, and I think that that'll happen between now and the end of November. Like I said, that will be in this zone. By the end of the year, we should definitely be in this zone, if not even higher than that. And going into 2026, I think that we'll top this cycle off probably around $10. That's my expectation. $6, $10, something in that kind of range. Let me see. What would that be as far as growth goes? Just make sure. Yeah, I think so. At a minimum, this cycle, I think HBAR will see a $3, like a $4 price, really. But I am fully anticipating a $6.62 to $9 price, maybe even a $10 price. You can go outside of this a little bit sometimes, and that's okay. 50x overall is very possible by the end of the cycle. I think we're loading up. Overall, you look at the structure here. I mean, you had a massive sell-off, absolutely massive, going into the bear market. Then a long sideways phase of accumulation, right? Definitely cumulative. We broke out. We're still in this phase of accumulation, I think. I think it's just shifted upwards, right? We're up like this. We're up in this zone now. We're waiting to break out. We're waiting for that next phase, and I wouldn't be surprised at all. Mark my words, this next move up will be bigger than the last move. It'll be the biggest move that we've seen perhaps in your whole life, HBAR, if not the biggest move that we've seen since your first cycle. But very powerful movements coming in. The first target area to consider again is that $1.21 zone right there. But I do think something between $1.21 and $2 is where we're going to go. We should see that, if not by the end of the year, then by the end of November. I don't have anything else that I want to say. I think I've said it all. So if you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I feel like I got tongue-tied a couple of times in this video, and that's not normally like me. I don't know what's wrong, why that happened, but pardon my tongue-tiedness, and I will see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.